episode 3. I'm Kite. I'm doing the hosting because Cappy's not here today. And with me are Powie, Neku, and Deck. You guys can introduce yourselves if you want.
Hey. I'm
I
Powie.
actually don't have the thing. Okay, I have it pulled up now. Oh, you have the names under you, so people won't be confused. So today we have two topics. The first thing we're going to talk about, the icebreaker type topic, is some of our favorite animated shows / movies. I think I'm just doing shows, but other people here might have movies. We're going to try to limit it to 2 this time because our topics have been going long. Deck, do you want to start so we can go left to right?
Oh yeah, that's fine. Okay, so my first animated show is going to be Danny Phantom. It is an action adventure comedy supernatural superhero horror. It was created by Butch Hartman. It ran from the 3rd of April 2004 to the 24th of August 2007, and it had 3 seasons and 53 episodes. Some of the episodes were like double episodes where it was like a movie, but I think I always thought they were just called movies, but apparently they split them up into 2 episodes, and they're not actually classed as movies. I really liked the show as a kid. I think it's really underrated. I think it's overshadowed by things like Fairly Odd Parents and SpongeBob, because they were around at the time too. And, it also didn't keep going like the other 2 did, which I think is a good thing in the end, because a lot of people don't like Fairly Odd Parents or SpongeBob at this point anymore. And I feel like Danny Phantom ended at a good point. I think it's really underrated. I loved it as a kid. I loved the whole story with the. I guess I should explain that a little bit. It's about a kid named Danny Fenton, who is he becomes half ghost. And he's just the superhero of the town, but no one knows it's him apart from his friends and his sister. And that's pretty much it. I think it's a really good show.
Yeah,
I don't know if anyone here has watched it or anything.
I watched it a lot as a kid as well. I thought the story arcs were usually really good. Well, the stories for each episode were usually really well written. Is it Butch Hartman?
Yeah, Butch Hartman.
Yeah. Generally, he's done a lot of good stuff. So that alone, that's a pretty big name for the show. Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. I remember watching it a lot as a kid. It was probably one of my more favorite shows. And then after it kind of wrapped up, kind of forgot about it until way later. I think it was available on Netflix or something. And I decided, you know what? I'll binge watch it. And this was back in high school, I think, during my sophomore year. So it was a considerable amount of time later. And I was surprised, honestly, at how well a lot of it stood. How well it stood up over time. It really did stick out with a really interesting idea and concept for characters, but also kept everything it kept it interesting, but didn't really I guess throw in too many unexpected twists that would ruin the experience.
Yeah. I haven't rewatched it. I've rewatched a few episodes here and there. I've watched all the movies years later, or a few years ago, because there was some I missed as a kid, and there was some that I wanted to rewatch, and I always thought they were really good. I still think that they're really good now. I haven't rewatched the whole show, but I've rewatched a few select episodes.
I honestly think at least season 1 and the large majority of season 2 are well worth it. Season 2 definitely did have some episodes that weren't as good, but they still were well made.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it in a long time, and I never saw all of it. I just saw episodes that were on when I happened to be watching. But I thought it was good, and I liked that they had him get more competent over time. It's sort of like American Dragon Jake Long, I guess, where it starts off with him. I think Danny can always transform whenever he wants, but every other power of his, he doesn't really have full control over. And then over time he gets better at it. And so it's the exact same thing in American Dragon, where they start off kind of bad, and then they're fighting weak things too. Like the box ghost is the
Yeah.
infamous, and then over time they ramp up the stakes and the enemies and his ability to control his powers and everything.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? The box ghost was like the apex predator of the ghost world.
Wasn't there one that was literally an apex predator? I don't remember his name.
Yeah, there was.
I remember there being a hunting ghost too. I think the box ghost ended up actually being like semi-relevant. Like they gave him a power boost eventually, or at least that might have been like a temporary thing.
They have a kid.
The box ghost has a kid.
Yeah, and Danny fights it. It's in one of like the movies. It's in The Ultimate Enemy. I remember the box ghost. The box ghost has a kid, and he fights the kid for a bit.
Wasn't the mother of the child like the lunch lady or something like that?
Yeah, I think it was the lunch lady. Yeah.
Well, the lore of Danny Phantom was good too. Yeah, it's a good show, I think.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend.
Who is that?
Neku, it's you.
All right, I am recommending The Venture Bros, because this show is really interesting because it's kind of like if old like 60s superhero shows, like not necessarily superhero shows, but think more like Johnny Quest and similar shows like that, if like they were actual like events that took place, and the lore of what happened in like those shows carried into like the real world, and it brings in like the lineage of like Rusty Venture, who is like the son of this like extraordinary adventurer and scientist extraordinaire who had the money to do anything that he could possibly ever want. And after he died, Rusty gained all of his inheritance from his father, gained the scientific labs, and decided to try to take it up for himself. While not necessarily being the best, it isn't really a show that focuses on Rusty as a whole, but instead the focus goes entirely on the supporting cast, who I think are absolutely brilliantly written. And it's also a really, really good experience to watch through, as you can see the evolution of the show as it slowly, but very evidently and obviously gets better over time. Season 1 is a bit rough to get through with the way that the animation looks. It looks like it was made in Flash. But as you go through and get further and further into the series, it gets much better. And it is one show that like I will recommend to everyone, but sadly isn't entirely too well known.
Is it still coming out?
Yeah, the most recent season actually just finished on Adult Swim.
Okay. Because I know it's like one of those... Adult Swim has this... I don't know how to describe it, just like this weird release schedule where like they have some of their old guard shows just like seem to come out with seasons every like, I don't know, 3 or 4 years whenever they fucking feel like it, kinda, right?
Yeah.
Like Metalocalypse was kind of like that too until they got in a fight with the creators. But yeah.
Yeah, with
I've
like
seen bits and pieces, but I haven't seen like the whole show at all.
Yeah, it started all the way back in like 2003, 2004, and just finished its 7th season.
So yeah, it's
like over a
little
decade.
bit less than one every 2 years, right?
Generally every 2 years,
Oh
probably.
yeah, it's one every 2 years. Yeah. That's exactly what it averages to if you got it from 2004 to 2018. 14 years, 7 seasons.
Yeah. And it's one that like I understand that like probably nobody else who's part of this podcast has watched. However, like that's not going to stop me from like singing its praises like the high hell. Like it really is an amazing show.
Yeah, it definitely sounds decent. I've never even like heard of it, to be honest, until just now. And I'm like looking it up, and like I was a little surprised it's still going. But I guess yeah, they have such a sporadic schedule. It makes sense that it's still going now. Yeah, it just sounds pretty decent.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's anywhere I can watch it here, but I might look into it.
I think it's on Hulu if you have access to that. I don't know what all is out.
I'd have to check. Yeah, I haven't really bothered with Hulu like ever, but because there's never really been anything on there that I've wanted to watch. But maybe if it's on there, I can look.
Yeah, I think Hulu like has a lot of Cartoon Network shows.
Okay.
Like I think they're like the big aggregator of like their older content.
Yeah.
I'll have to take a look. But let's see.
For us, I know Amazon Prime has like. Oh, actually, Amazon Prime I think is more Nick, but yeah, Amazon Prime I think is the one that has Danny Phantom right now. But I'm not. 100%
Oh really?
I think they have SpongeBob, or did the last I checked. So I assume, but I actually don't know if I've ever looked at Danny Phantom. There's so many streaming services. I've this is like seeming off topic, but this is like something that I've been thinking a lot about. I feel like streaming services are definitely getting to the point where you have to not have year-round streaming, right? You gotta like just buy the one that you want to use at the time you want to use it, watch the shows you want to watch, and then cancel because there's just too many. And it's like the choice is to pirate, which not many of us, if any of us, support, or to selectively buy and cancel your subs because you just go year-round on all the important ones. You're spending more than you would on cable at this point. Like it's too many.
I think the only one that's like an exception is Amazon, just because I don't know if you can buy Prime Video on its own. I think you just have to buy Prime, don't you?
In every place that isn't the US, I think you can actually get Prime Video alone.
Really?
Because Prime's not that good in a lot of other countries, so they sell a cheaper Prime Video, right? But yeah, in the US it's just Prime. So yeah, you just gotta if you use Amazon enough to want Prime, then that's gonna be a year-round sub.
I know Prime's really good here, so I imagine it's gonna be similar to the US.
Yeah, it's probably just Prime then. Canada, I'm pretty sure Prime's like really bad, so they have Prime Video. It's like its own thing. I think Australia is the same. But
I don't know if Australia has Prime at all.
I think it like just rolled out recently, but I don't know. We'll have to wait till Jim's around to us.
Yeah. But also, I did just check, and Danny Phantom is on Prime Video here. I actually had no idea.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think there's a deal to get a bunch of mixed stuff on there.
That's cool.
Feels good, man. Also, yeah, Hulu has like large libraries for both Cartoon Network and Adult Swim, both separated into their own things, so you can find exactly what you're looking for.
Yeah, that's good. Hulu's one that I think my parents have, so maybe I'll steal theirs to check the library at some point, and then I'll get my own sub.
Yeah, Hulu is a service that like I kind of find difficult in recommending because you're paying to watch shows, but you have to pay even more to get rid of the ads.
Yeah,
and that like just has never sat right with me.
That seems really shitty. And from what I'm looking up, I need a VPN to use Hulu anyway, so I don't think this is even an option.
Oh, feels bad, man. That's even worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of Netflix's positives. They're pretty good at getting all of the content that like they have any control over in like as many regions as possible. But
yeah.
Should I do my first one now?
Yeah.
Also, I just saw Joe send in the chat Ben 10. Ben 10's a show I like. It's not one of the ones I'm recommending, but Ben 10's cool. But yeah, my first one's Castlevania, the Netflix series. It was sort of in like, as far as I know, I'm not like looking anything up, so I could get dates wrong, but it's been in like licensing hell for a really, really long time, where it was like originally contracted to come out like 10, 15 years ago, and it just sort of like bounced around from place to place, and no one was actually making. The Netflix finally picked it up, and it came out last year. Season 2 came out literally yesterday at the time of recording. I have not seen season 2 yet, but the reviews for it are literally, I think it has like literally 100% on Rotten Tomatoes or like 90 something. So it's been doing pretty well. Yeah, it's basically it follows the story loosely, the story of the NES game, Castlevania 3. And it's like a gothic horror action show about the Trevor Belmont, who like the Belmont family in Castlevania lore is basically just like this elite family of vampire hunters that are the world's only real hope against Dracula. And Dracula, whenever he's killed, he revives later, and a Belmont has to go and beat him. Although later games sort of change it and allow other people to be the ones to beat him. But all the early ones are different Belmonts. And yeah, it's really good. It's really short too. It's like 4 episodes, I think 30 minutes episodes, so it doesn't take long. And season 2 just came out. That's another 8, and season 3 will be out hopefully next year, but I'd guess the year after if we're lucky.
There are only 4 episodes.
Yeah, season 1.
I thought there were like 12. I thought it was like one of those short. I knew it was like short, but I thought it was like one of the 12 episodes kind of thing.
It's 12 now because 8 more came out yesterday. But yeah.
Oh, okay. So season 2 had. Oh, okay.
Season 2 is 8. Yeah.
I didn't know if you meant season 2 had 4, which made it 8, or if season 2 had 8.
Season 2 has 8, so it's double the length. I mean, I haven't seen any of season 2, so I can't. Maybe for me, it'll turn out season 2 ruined it or something, but I doubt it. It looks like it's getting good reviews.
Yeah, I can also vouch for the quality of Castlevania. It's long enough to give you a really good idea of what it wants to do, at least in season 1, because I also haven't seen anything on season 2 yet. But it's short enough to like give you exactly what you want, but just short enough to make you want more after the final episode wraps up. Like, I think it was really good as like a pseudo pilot season.
Yeah, it ends at like a pretty good like pause point, but also a pretty good like now the real story can begin type thing, where it's like, well, now I want to see the real story, right?
Yeah, and I think I also I think I read something somewhere that the team working on it, they can't wait to get to Symphony of the Night. So they obviously do have plans to like extend this into the like other Castlevania games, and I would love to see like this series tackle it like chronologically in the style that they've been doing it, because I think that would be an absolute treat.
I have absolutely no idea what the order chronologically is for Castlevania, but I mean, yeah, I'd like to see more. I think you can probably do any series like they're doing this one, although they've done my boy Grant the Nasty dirty by excluding him completely from the series he's part of. In Castlevania 3, the game, like depending on how you move throughout the game, there's 3 different partners you can get. Plus, you always have Trevor. And in the show, they have Sypha, they have Alucard, and then Grant's just nowhere to be seen so far. So, and I think they've confirmed he's just not in it. So,
no,
my boy Grant got done dirty. He was the least interesting of them, but still, he's really bad.
I think in lore, like he was a pirate.
Yeah, he's a pirate, and like in game, his ability was just he could walk on ceilings. Whereas Alucard literally turns into a bat, so you can fly like in all directions. But he eats up your hearts doing it. Grant can do it without eating hearts, so that's his like sort of positive. But yeah, it's a good show. It's an adult cartoon too. Venture Bros is as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my next one is not an adult cartoon, I promise. But yeah, so far we have 2 adult, one kid.
Yeah.
Powie.
Yeah, no, just real quick on the Castlevania thing. I haven't actually played Castlevania, but it sounds like a show I'd enjoy, so I'll probably check it out.
Yeah, it's good.
Also, Josie, yeah, I watched some Adventure Time, and I watched all of Rick and Morty, and yeah, they're good shows, but again, not ones I'm gonna put on this list.
What is your first one for your list?
Well, my first one would have to be the revival of an old 1987 cartoon, DuckTales. So they revived DuckTales last year. Basically got more or less an all-star cast for the voice actors, because a lot of the old voice actors are either too old to do the voices or just are dead. So yeah, you have David Tennant as Scrooge, Danny Pudi as Huey, who's from Community, right? Yeah, I believe so. Ben Schwartz, who's been on Parks and Rec, Kate Micucci, and then yeah, the new DuckTales is really good in my opinion. Oh, I'm a little quiet. Hang on, I'll turn myself up. I can't. I'll turn everyone else down. There. Yeah, no, the new DuckTales. Basically, episodic adventures, but with an overarching kind of story, which plays into some of the episodes, and it's really important for like the pilot and the final 3 episodes of the season. Yeah, I think it's the last 3 of season 1, that is. Season 2 just started, so I don't really have any opinions on that yet. But yeah, characters are really well written, really varied compared to the original show, where Webby, for example, was just a token girl character, whereas now she's basically Mabel Pines from Gravity Falls, in that she's more of an action girl type character. And Hugh, Dewey, and Louie, the triplets, are now kind of with more distinct personalities. But yeah, it's really good. If you enjoyed the 1987 series, you'll probably really enjoy this. If you just want kind of a feel-good cartoon with adventure and shit, and you'll probably enjoy it.
It's something that actually I want to watch. I liked the old. I didn't see like the old DuckTales, but I like the old, like, I don't know, the old Disney cartoons, and then more so I liked the old. I watched more of like the Bugs Bunny stuff, but that's just because that was like on TV more. But I like that sort of like era of cartoons. So I'll probably check it out eventually. I also really like Toontown, so seeing
The best
characters
game.
from Toontown / Kingdom Hearts is always fun to see in their actual like original forms.
Yeah, I think the thing for that is every kind of incarnation of all the Mickey Mouse characters, I guess the Mouse Universe characters are really different based on who's writing them, and this is based mostly on the Carl Barks comics. They also did that with the art style. That's why the art style looks so much different from the original series.
That's interesting.
I remember watching, I think it was the first episode, and yeah, no, it was really good quality. Like you mentioned the all-star cast, and like having an all-star cast is one thing, but the thing, like, it has a really, really great director that is really good at like helping the voice actors also help define the characters that they're voice acting. So like not only are they just really good voice actors, but they also fill the roles particularly well.
Yeah, for sure. It also seems like they just have a lot of fun with doing the roles. They did a live reading of one of the episodes, which is I think it's available on YouTube, and it just shows that they really enjoy what they're doing.
Yeah. And yeah, that's actually another really good point that you brought up with the first episode being on YouTube. I actually really forgot about that, but that's how I first watched the first episode. So yeah.
I don't know if the first episode is still on YouTube. I was talking about a different episode where they did a live reading of the scripts with all the voice actors on stage. If it is on YouTube, check it out on YouTube. It's worth it.
It is. The full first episode, which is like 44 minutes long, but it was also the special. But yeah, it was really good. So, and also because it gives you like the full first episode, like you can watch it totally fine and like can make a better judgment from there as to whether or not you want to keep watching.
Yeah,
like, it really good.
Yeah, the pilot is one of the best written pilots I've seen, I think. Yeah, I think I'm done unless anyone has anything more to say.
Well, is it literally like just the show remade, or is it like
no,
new
it's
take?
They've done a lot of things differently. Like I said, all the characters are, well, a lot of the characters are very different and generally better.
Mm-hmm.
and the overarching story thing wasn't a thing in the original. There wasn't really much character development, but now there is. So
Okay. That was just something I didn't know, because like I'd heard about, I never watched the original, and I heard they were like bringing it back. I just didn't know if they were just like literally just doing the same exact show again, just higher quality. Yeah.
no, everything's kind of really different, but in just they brought it more to be more like a 2010s show rather than a 1980s show.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
If we're done with that, I can just go.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I will do an animated movie. And I picked Stitch the movie. I always really liked Lilo and Stitch as a kid, and I remember watching this movie like a lot, or like a few times as a kid. And when I was like looking into the show, just like on Wikipedia and that before doing this, I actually didn't know this. This was the movie that like was supposed to start this show. So like this is like the story that built into this show. I actually didn't know that. I just thought this was a movie just because they wanted to make movies. I didn't really know like it was leading into the show at all, which I thought was kind of cool. But I was debating picking the first movie, but I don't know. Just whenever I always think about Lilo and Stitch in the movies, this movie always comes to mind first for some reason. It was just always the one I preferred. Maybe it was just the story. I don't know. I liked how because I think in the movie this is when they introduced Experiment 625, which is literally just like Stitch, but he's the really lazy version of Stitch. And I always really liked that character. I always thought it was really funny. Maybe he was the reason.
Wasn't his name Ruben or something?
Yeah, Ruben. That's what they named him. I always really liked him. And then I think there's like one episode in the show or something where like he actually like uses his powers or something, or like he actually tries to like fight. I can't really remember. It's been so long. But I always thought that was cool.
Yeah. I actually remember watching that movie as well. And yeah, I actually remember the thing you were talking about. Like, everybody thought that like he was just this very underwhelming creation, and then he just started doing things that Stitch could do effortlessly. And God, I think it was the guy who made him. I can't remember his name. And
yeah,
was it Jumbo?
I think it's Jumbo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dr. Jumbo Jukiba.
Yeah, Dr. Jumbo. He was like, he's almost exactly like Stitch. Like, the fact that you think this is surprising honestly amazes me. And I think it was like a comment or something like that. It was like, he's just like Stitch. Almost identical. He's just too lazy to want to do anything like that.
Yeah.
This is like not super relevant, but there was a Flash game we used to play on Disney's website with 625, where you had to like catch sandwich ingredients, because like that was his defining character trait. I thought was the fact that he was lazy and like eating sandwiches. I remember he ate sandwiches a lot in the show, right?
Yeah.
I've seen the movie though. I like the movie. I like 625 or Ruben or whatever you want to call him. The show was good too. That was one of the very few times I think where they tried to turn a show in like a movie into a show, and it went well. Like Emperor's New Groove is one of my favorite movies of all time. The show kind of sucked. It was kind of ass. This show was really solid though, and this tie-in movie that started it was really solid too.
Yeah, I really like the show. Sorry, what are you gonna say?
Yeah, I watched the show a lot, and I watched. I think I also watched Stitch first. Stitch the movie. Which was kind of weird because it's not the first movie.
Yeah.
No, but the show was really solid. And I think maybe Stitch as a Glitch was my favorite of the movies. I'm not sure though. I haven't watched them in years. That was the one after Stitch the movie.
Yeah. That was a really good one too. I feel like in general, like it was all pretty solid.
Yeah, I haven't watched the Japanese and the Chinese versions, so can't really say anything about those.
I just saw Leroy and Stitch. I don't think I ever saw this one, so there's another movie that I haven't seen.
Yeah, that was also a fun one.
It was pretty much Stitch. So Leroy was experiment 627, I think it was, or 629, or like made very, very close to Stitch, I think it was. But like he was Stitch, but evil.
No, that was it was 628 because they showed 629. Yeah, they showed 627 in the show, and then hinted at 628, and then he made 629 in this movie. I think.
Yeah.
It gets kind of confusing, the numbering at some point.
Yeah.
It wasn't very memorable, but the thing that I do remember was that Leroy was just Stitch, but evil.
Yeah,
I don't know if I watched this.
No, and he wasn't Stitch, but he was everything about Stitch, but more, which is how they beat him. I'm pretty sure there was something like he had twice the sense of humor of Stitch, so they just made like all the Leroy clones laugh until they couldn't do anything. I'm pretty sure that was legitimately how they stopped.
Drown like Stitch would drown, or
I don't know. Nah, but it was fun if I remember correctly.
You know, I remember this now. I remember they're like in the big stadium thing or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember this.
Oh
now.
yeah. Yeah, I remember. God, I think when Leroy and Stitch finally met, Stitch was like, "I found you, faker."
Oh no. The best episode of Lilo and Stitch though was the one with Recess. When they did the crossover.
oh, I actually don't know if I saw that. Recess is a god tier show.
Yeah. Recess will be its own episode, I'm pretty sure. Like that's just one of the best shows ever made. But
I used to watch it every day when I came home from school. It came on
Same.
literally like, as I got home.
I used to watch it all the time. And the movies. Oh my god.
Oh
so
god,
good.
the movies. The movie was legitimately like. So I might be like a little old here, but I actually went to like Blockbuster and stuff fairly regularly for a while, right?
Mhm.
And the Recess movie was literally my fallback every time. It's like if I go to the store and I can't find anything new that looks interesting, I'll just rent Recess.
It was.
And I did that a lot as a kid, where like we'd go like once every 2 weeks or something. So I'd probably get Recess once every like 3 or 4 times a year, and then go to Recess because nothing looked interesting.
I don't
Yeah.
think I ever watched that crossover, but I definitely watched the Kim Possible one.
Oh yeah, the Kim Possible one. I forgot that one.
Yeah. Yeah,
Kim Possible's a dope ass series too.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next, do you want to do your next one now?
Yeah. So my second show, which is not going to be an adult show, is Over the Garden Wall, which it is a very, very short Cartoon Network series. And by short, like it is 10 episodes long in its entirety, and each episode is roughly like 10 to 12 minutes. So you can knock this out in roughly 2 hours. And the thing that I love about the show is that while it is probably as adult as Cartoon Network will probably allow before like pushing it to Adult Swim. And what I mean by that is that it brings up a lot of like very, very good topics to bring up, like it talks a lot about it brings up a lot of interesting issues through very off means by disguising it as something else. And I think that by doing that, it allows a new and really very good, point of understanding for any person of any age who's watching the show for the first time that can sympathize with the main cast and also like the scenario that they're going through for that episode. Yeah, it's a really, really good show.
Is there like an example of what you're talking about, or?
So what? Without diving into spoilers, trying to find an example might take me a very, very quick minute. I think like a very good one is like the idea of individuality and how the thought of like maybe not necessarily fitting into that or fitting into a paradigm of like the entire premise of the episode was that they come across this group of people, and every single person in this group has their own role that is dictated by the group, and they have to fulfill that role as best as they can in every single situation. And so when the main cast come in, they don't understand what's going on, and they start to like kind of question themselves as to like, what are we then? And it's a very good point of like, I guess like existentialism and like trying to figure out what you are and what you want to be, and also brings up a very good point of you don't have to let everybody else decide what you are. What matters most is that you decide for yourself.
Okay, yeah, so it's like I mean, that is like a theme that you want to tell kids, but it's also a theme that like adults can get a decent amount out of too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched it a few months back. Yeah, thought it was really, really well made and really dark. Like, Jesus Christ, it gets dark at times. Yeah, no, I definitely do recommend it to basically anyone, really.
Yeah, and plus, like with the short brevity of it, it is roughly as long as Castlevania Season 1. And it's solely contained within those 10 episodes. Like, there's no offshoot afterwards that, like, provide, like, any extra stuff that, like, isn't important. Like, it knew exactly what it wanted to do. It set forward and did that, and did it in the best way that it possibly could.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds interesting. It's like I feel like cartoons are sort of going in, you know, two directions. In the West especially, where it's like adult oriented and kid oriented, and this is like kind of trying to blend it a little, I guess, where it's like the far end of the kid oriented one, like in the adult direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. It has a very, very childish art style, but that doesn't take away from what it like is trying to show and say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's neat. Yes, I'll go unless Dick has something else to say.
Honestly, it just seems like a lot of shows like lately are doing this thing where like they try and go for like quick and short. I don't really know like when that started or like why, but like it seems like fairly common now.
I think online distribution like allows you to do weirder stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
You can do like Cartoon Network is a show. I think it's on TV now called OKKO, but I'm not 100% sure if even on TV. I just know it initially started as a series of like, you know, videos on YouTube that are like varying lengths, and yeah, I've heard good things about it, and I think it's now like a TV show with normal TV length episodes, right? But yeah, it got its start by just, you know, being like random length shorts on YouTube.
Yeah.
So
I don't think it's bad. It's
Yeah,
just something I've like noticed. Like it's been like a trend. I'd say.
I think the ability to like put your stuff out online, meaning you don't have to like, you know, get advertisers to okay like or a station to okay being like, okay, so my show is going to be 42 minutes, which means or like 38 minutes, which means it's not long enough to, you can't run, you know, 22 minutes of ads. No one's gonna watch, right? So it means you need to find some other weird thing to like shove in to make it so that there's like not too much ads, but yeah. And when they're gonna be like, no, we don't want to try to find some like 7-minute thing to add with your 38-minute thing. That's too annoying, right? You can just like put it on some site that can do it because there is no ads they have to be beholden to, or time structure they have to be beholden to.
I guess you can do that for like a lot of media now. So just like shows, obviously, it's just like really easy to do whatever and get it out there now.
Yep.
Yeah.
Which is nice. I mean, the whole indie market in games.
Yeah. It definitely saturates the market though.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Like big time.
There's way more media of literally all kinds. There's way more media of all kinds coming out now than there ever has been. Even I'd assume, I don't know this for sure, but I assume even like paintings, which is like, you know, and it's sort of like been around forever. I assume there's more paintings now than there ever has been before. They're not nearly as talked about or cared about because there's other stuff crowding it out, right? But yeah, I'd assume just by pure volume, there's more coming out now than even when they were like the coolest, interesting, you know, piece of media.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah, my second one is I am a huge anime fan. So I had to fight to not put all my stuff being anime, but Yu Yu Hakusho is like this old series from the 90s. I'll look up right now the exact year it came out, but it's been out for a while. It's made by Togashi, the guy that made Hunter x Hunter, that I know a lot of people have seen, or Hunter x Hunter, depending on how you want to depending on if you want to pronounce the cross or not. 92 is when the show started coming out. 95 is when it finished. So yeah, from the 90s. And there's like it's hard to describe without being a little bit spoilery. So I'll just be as vague as possible. But it's a shonen, so an action shonen. So it's about a guy fighting, learning to like deal with his social situation, coming to understand like that his family situation isn't as messed up as he thought it was, and that he has like friends and people that care about him, and then fighting bad guys, primarily demons, but there's other stuff too. Yeah, it's really good. It's really good. It's long. It's 112 episodes. I think you can find it right now. You can find it on Crunchyroll and Funimation, but they had like a partnership that's gone soon, so I think it's going to be only on Funimation soon. But yeah, it's really good. Long, but really good. Pretty universally considered to have like the best tournament arc of all time in any anime, and some people say the Hunter x Hunter one's like close, but most people seem to agree that like Yu Yu Hakusho is the best tournament arc of all time. Period. Yeah, just it's good. It's good.
I mean, you know this. I've like watched. I don't know how many episodes I've watched it, but I watched like quite a bit because I know Anthony like really wanted to watch it with Corey and I. And, I think it was too long to like try and watch with like other people.
Yeah.
Like trying to get that set up like kind of like ruined it for me in a way. Like to watch like I didn't really want to watch it after that point. I like a show that is that long. I'd want to just binge on my own. No, that's how I'd want to do it. It's too much to try and get 4 people to like organize to watch a show of that length. And like I've thought about like going back and actually watching it because I did enjoy it, for the most part. And from what I remember, it was like really good. I don't know. It has, I know like Anthony really likes it. I know you really like it, and I think Ken watched it too.
Ken's seen at least some of it and he likes it. Brad watched all of it and he really likes it, and Cedric's been watching it with Anthony and he really likes Up to the Party's at. So I don't think I don't know anyone that has seen it and didn't like it. So
Yeah, I didn't dislike the show. Yeah.
Oh god, like I hate trying to watch stuff with people. I hate it in general. It's the worst. Trying to organize your time, having it be dictated by other people sucks, just like inherently. And then the more people it is, the more annoying it is. I can't even watch with like one other person anymore. I've gotten to the point where it's too annoying. Like I want to watch something and I'll be like, hey, you want to watch? And they'll be around even, and they'll be like, nah, I don't really care right now. It's like, oh great. So it's like I can't watch it any of these times because you're not around, and now I can't watch it this time when you are around because you don't feel like it. And then next time you're gonna ask me, and I'm not gonna feel like it. So it's like, I'm done. Too hard.
Like shows for me, like I have to be in the mood to watch shows. Like Ken and I watching My Hero Academia together like every week, and that was fine because it just came out every week, and like we might have had to like wait a day to watch it together, but that was fine because that was the only episode we had to watch anyway. We had until like the next week. Like I think that's fine when it's coming out week by week, but when there's like a bunch of episodes you're trying to like watch a bunch together, I don't know, it's too rough.
It's definitely tough. I don't know, people can do it. Like other people are way better, but some people just don't mind having to wait or anything. But yeah, for me it's not my thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Kyle, do you want to do your last one?
Yeah. So my last show is also an anime. It's Konosuba. Full title: Konosuba, God's Blessing on This Wonderful World. It's a show. It's a part of a show that's part of a trend a couple of years back of the dying and going to a fantasy world kind of trope.
It's called isekai in Japan.
Yeah.
Transported to another world.
Yeah. So basically, that's what this show starts with in the first episode. I'm not gonna spoil too much, but main character dies, gets transported to another world along with a goddess, and they kind of form a party and decide to go adventuring because they want to defeat like the big bad, the demon king, who's kind of a nondescript evil entity. And it's kind of got everything set up to be like a decent serious adventure anime, but then they kind of pick everything that would make the party great and make like the adventure super serious and then flip it on the head so it becomes like full on comedy. Basically, they take a lot of anime tropes and a lot of RPG tropes and just mix them up until it's just comedy, just purely. The paladin ends up being like a huge masochist. The wizard is completely useless because she only wants to learn one spell, and is after casting it, she's basically passed out for the rest of the day. The goddess is completely useless, and the dude who came from another world is a complete asshole. And so they kind of try to get by while fucking everything up along the way. The only complaint I think I have about this show, some of the like tit shots and booty shots are kind of grating. At one point they just kind of get weird. But yeah, other than that, it's just a really fun show, and you can kind of tell that the voice actors had a lot of fun in this one as well, which definitely helps with the dynamic. Yeah.
I've seen it all. I think I'm not 100% sure about this, so don't quote me too hard. But I'm pretty sure the first season won the 2016 R Anime Award for like best comedy of the year, and the 2017 one won season 2 won the 2017 award. So like it's very well liked on our anime. I like it a lot. I've always, when I've tried to describe it to other people, it's like a group of people got together to play D&D and nobody really understands the rules very well. And the person that understands it, like the DM, doesn't help them when they're making their characters, so the characters all come out to be bad. Like their characters just are inherently bad, not very good at combat, and they have to just like deal with it because the character sheet's already made and they don't want to redo it.
Yeah, that's really accurate, actually.
Yeah, I think like the best way to describe the cast is that every single person has the role that they want to fit into, and they fit into it well. However, there's something that's like always bringing them back. Like the goddess who had like the highest stats didn't want to be focused on combat or anything else, but instead focused on party tricks.
Yeah. Basically, yeah. She also had the lowest luck and below average intelligence, I believe.
Yeah, that was a good one.
That's very apparent in the show. But yeah, it's really good. It's funny.
Yeah,
there's definitely some fan service. It's an anime, but it's an anime from recent times, I should say. Like Yu Yu Hakusho doesn't really have much, but it's from a different era where fan service was not ubiquitous.
Yeah. Now it's 2 seasons. It's on Crunchyroll, at least when I watched it was. I'm guessing it still is.
Yeah, it should be.
20 episodes, 2 OVAs. Yeah, you can get through it relatively quickly, and it's just worth watching. I think they're talking about doing like a show about Megumin, like the wizard from the show, but I'm not sure. It's just a rumor.
There's some talk of like I know there's like a season 3 people were talking about, but I think it's just a movie right now. There's also this. I'm gonna look this up. Isekai Quartet, I think.
Yeah, I just found that. What the fuck is this?
Yeah. So there's some weird thing that's coming out that's like taking characters from Konosuba, ReZero, Overlord, and Yojo Senki, or God, what's its non-weeb name? Let me look up.
And the Saga of Tanya the Evil.
Yeah, Saga of Tanya the Evil. Yeah, it has to be a comedy. Like, I don't think it's been officially said, but like, you can't. Yeah, comedy fantasy parody.
It says it's chibi style. It can't be serious then.
Yeah, so I assume it'll be a short too. But that's I think the only thing, that and maybe a movie are the only things that are like confirmed coming out right now. But there's a lot of rumors that like there's more stuff in the works for it.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we get season 3 one day.
I don't think we're getting season 3. I
can still hope. I can still dream. Don't try to take that away from me.
It's possible. I mean, I think it's sold well, so it's not impossible. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, but apparently, Studio Dean, the people who made it, have made some questionable choices about dropping and continuing shows in the past.
Sort of a mess, but maybe another studio will pick it up at some point. Who knows? I don't know. It licensing over in Japan's weird and hard to follow.
Yeah.
It's good. I also recommend that one. And then so yeah, I guess we went through everything. So is everyone ready to do the next topic?
Yeah, I'll just change the topic.
Okay, so this one might not even take long. It's just something that I thought of randomly. So with rating systems, I guess the first part I'll start with, and this isn't even written down, so I'm kind of throwing you guys a curveball. But like, do you feel like when you watch a piece of media, listen to an album, play a game, do you think it's easy, possible at all, whatever, to actually put it how much you enjoy it into a number? Because people use 1 to 10 rating system, a 1 to 5 rating system. Do you actually think that's something you personally can do easily? Or is it something that you just kind of do because other people do it?
If I was going to start reviewing games, I'd probably have multiple of those scales. But I think enjoyment might be something that can be gauged, but it doesn't really say anything about the show at all. Because you could do overall quality objectively. Again, that doesn't say anything about your enjoyment. I think it's kind of too simplistic. I think it could be done, but I just don't think it's helpful.
I think the problem with the number system is that, like, once you get to, like, number 6, it seems like that's when everything's bad. Like, if I gave something like a 6, even though it's above, like, the halfway point, people would think less of obviously you think less of it if it was a 7. And, like, if I said it was 7, you think more of it. But it feels like no one goes, like, below, like, 7 if they're trying to call something good. Like, I'd say 6 is, like, okay. But I think a lot of people interpret that as just, like, bad. I don't know.
Yeah,
it feels like it feels like if you like something, you have to give it like an 8, 9, or a 10. And if you don't like something, you have to give it like a 1, 2, or a 3. It feels like 4, 5, and 6 are like not really used.
Yeah.
And they're like misinterpreted a lot of the time. I think 6 is like the big number that I think falls under that.
Also, I think. Oh, sorry.
I think so. A lot of it comes down to like people justifying what they've spent their time doing. I think, right? Or it's sort of like, you guys remember the console wars when we were kids, and like especially the Xbox 360. Have you guys all seen the Chad Warden videos? They're great if you haven't.
No, I haven't.
Oh god, Chad Warden made this series of videos. He was like an internet troll about how like the PS Triple is way better than the Xbox 360 and the Wii, and like has the greatest games, the greatest everything, and you guys are all just like haters and poor because it was the most expensive one, right? So anyone who doesn't like it is just poor and mad that they can't afford it. I think like it was actually a great representation of like people. He wasn't serious, but people got so mad at him, and it's like people are really attached to the things they have. And it's like, if you bought a Wii, and this guy is sitting there saying that your controller looks like a dildo, and like Link sucks because he can't even talk. He just goes and that's like stupid and whatever. Like people get really mad about that because it's like, man, I spent my hard-earned money on this shit. Like this is my thing. Stop shit talking my stuff, right? And I think like, yeah, for shows like when you spent your time, even if you didn't have to spend much money on it, because like you have a subscription service, so in a way it was free, right? The subscription cost money, but you're not subscribing just for the show. It's like you spent like 5 hours watching something, like, and that's like kind of a shortish show, right? And it's like, man, if you're saying that it was like a 6, it was okay, but think of how many 7s and 8s and 9s and 10s are out there you haven't seen yet. In a way, it was like a waste of your time, man, right? I think people bump a lot of the stuff they watch up, because they view their time as, precious or whatever, and they don't want to admit that they wasted it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you go.
Actually, no, buddy, you go. I kind of forgot what I was going to say.
Yeah, no, it's basically just what you say. Yeah, people are trying to justify everything, so it feels like 7 at this point is average, and then we can just drop half the scale because it's not used, which means we could just go over to like how magazines do it over here in Norway, where we use like dice symbolism, so you have 1 to 6 for the ratings, and those are usually actually pretty average, around 3 and 4.
Yeah. I mean, that's like why like YouTube and Netflix got rid of like the star system, right, for ratings, because like, and they just replaced it with a thumb up or a thumb down, because that's what people really did. It was either like a 5-star or a 1-star. It wasn't like, it was okay. Like you either liked it or you didn't.
Yeah, that's how Rotten Tomatoes does it, right?
I think so.
Yeah, and also like fun fact, like that entire like 5-star or 1-star thing, like you can still see that a lot in places that still use a star rating. Like if you look at Amazon, for example, and you look at the products, there is going to be more than likely more 5s and 1s like as a singular unit than 2s, 3s, and 4s combined most of the time.
Yeah,
I think 4s actually used pretty much a lot, but yeah, 2 and 3.
Yeah, 4 could be used a decent amount, but like 5 and 1 usually kings.
Yeah. Now people are usually willing to admit, there were some issues, so they can give the 4, but 3 and 2, just
pretty rare. So I think like from there, Powie actually mentioned this. So this is like, I'll start with my thing. I think trying to rate something objectively is insane. It's just impossible. Because what you think of as like good animation or like a good story is like, that's already subjective, right? The only objective things are like what audio quality, probably. Even that, like, is probably somewhat subjective, but there is probably some degree of like, is it clear to hear what they're saying, right? But yeah, there's very, very, very little that is fully objective. There's a lot that's like somewhat objective in the sense that like the vast majority would agree that, X show is animated well, right? But even that is sort of like an opinion, man, right? So I feel like you have to go by, if you're rating something, you have to go by like how you feel about it, right? Your personal opinion. Because trying to go objective is just like, it's so hard.
But I think the thing that's even worse about just going objective is the just one score thing. Because, again, I just don't feel like it says anything about what you actually thought about the game, or the show, or the movie, or whatever, other than, oh, it's good, or, oh, it's bad. That's,
Yeah, which is why reviews typically have like a big review attached to it, right? And it's like, the score, a lot of people will just go to the score because they just want to They just want a confirmation bias, right? They like something, they want it to have big scores, and they go, hey, look, this guy's big score. They don't like something, they want it to have low scores, and they go, oh, look, this thing bad. I was right to not buy it, right? But yeah, people that actually like want to learn more about it, they'll have to like actually read or watch the review.
Yeah, this is something actually. I think is it? I'm pretty sure IGN does this or has does this at least. Oh,
Spider-Man
fuck
on
off! Oh, I just autoplayed the video. I jumped into a review on IGN and it autoplayed the video.
No.
Oh no.
Hang on, mute tab. I think they do like multi-score reviews usually, or am I crazy?
So where they score different aspects of it.
Yeah, and then they do have an overall score, but like, yeah, they have.
Yeah.
I think that's a better way to do it personally, but yeah, there's still a lot of subjectivity to it.
I think like to some degree though, there's also a problem with that. Like my anime list has like sort of a scoring rubric. Let me go to one of them so I can see. Yeah, so it's like story, art, characters. Oh God, there's more. That one just had those three. But like some of those are so intrinsically connected that it's like, how can you really like say that like the characters don't impact directly the story, right? Like they have to. They are the story in a lot of ways, right?
Yeah.
But like there are delineations that do work too. Like you can say the animation as a separate thing, and the sound design is a separate thing. Although like yeah, one of the ones people have is voice acting versus sound design. Like those are two connected for me too. Like you can do like animation, sound design, story, and those three all work I think separately. But
Yeah.
sometimes like people try to separate out too much, and it's like, well, I thought the story was really good, but the characters were awful, and it's like, well, what do you mean? Like, how is the story good and the characters like awful? It just in theory that could work, but like it's so rare. Like
I think it makes some sense, right? Because like, I guess think of it as like the story is like the concepts, right? And then like it just had poor execution with like bad characters. Like the story can still like be decent, but like
to me, I think if the story ends up being good, like you like the story, then the characters were the right characters for the story, right? Even if they're like boring and bland, and like you look at them and you're like, man, this character is not a character I'll ever care about. But like the story ended up being good, so he was the right character for the job, right?
maybe I don't think it's as black and white as that.
Oh god, so I sort of do, but not fully, I guess. But like, and then if the story is like, if you think the concepts of the story are good, but it didn't work, then the story is bad, even if you liked the concepts, right? Because, and the reason you think it didn't work is the characters were bad. Then I think like the story is just it's bad at that point, right? Like it's being hurt by the bad characters, and the concepts were good, but it didn't work. Imagine My Hero Academia if it started. Oh god, what's his name? You know the guy. Mineta. There we go.
Oh no! Oh no!
Like, yeah, the idea is still cool, but if it really stars him and like the whole thing is turned into like 90% comedy with him like trying to hit on the, like you can still say like, man, this world is really neat, but like, damn, it fucking sucks. The story sucks. Like, it doesn't matter that the world is great and that like the idea is great. He ruins it. The characters ruin it because it's always focused on this guy that's like trying to sexually harass everyone.
Yeah, I think they're definitely like connected. I just don't think like it's it's, you know, it's either. I just don't think they're as connected as you make it like out to be.
Yeah.
I feel
So
like
do you think,
I just don't think it's just like as black and white.
do you think there could be like a good story, and the characters can be boring? I can agree, but like if the story is good, then didn't the characters do enough of their job? Like they're not good. I'm not saying that they're like great characters, but like they were the right ones for the job, right? Because they got it done. Or do you think like you think there could be a good story, like a 10 out of 10 story with characters that if you replace them with completely different characters, it would actually be 11 out of 10. Like, or
I feel like that could. I feel like that can happen.
Okay, so I feel like they're so intrinsically connected. Like you definitely could make it better, but like if the story's already like great, then they had the right-ish characters or good enough characters, right?
Yeah, I can get that. Yeah.
And then I guess the question that like initially made me think about this is if you have something that you think is a 10 out of 10 and it's for like let's say anime because I watch a lot of anime and we were talking a little bit about it there, then should your enjoyment level of something that's 10 out of 10, because we're agreeing that we're writing on enjoyment at this point because otherwise this premise doesn't fit at all. If your enjoyment level of like an anime is 10 out of 10, then does that have to be the same as a 10 out of 10 for like a movie or for a game? Or can a 10 for a game be higher than a 10 for an anime because you just like games better?
I think for me, it personally comes down to like, obviously yes, entertainment, but also like what I'm trying to get out of it. Like a 10 for me, like across any medium, like it gets to the point where everything bad that I could possibly say about whatever it was that I was experiencing is completely overshadowed by even like the mediocre parts or especially the good parts of it. And through that, like that's something that I like try to hold, like something that I try to remain consistent through, like whatever it is that I give a score to. And I think the big difference, like between music, movies / TV shows, and games, is that how it is that we interact with that medium. Like with a TV show or a movie, we're just in the seat of what is being like put in front of us, and we have to make our judgment based off of that. And so, therefore, a 10 for an anime will be different because it, like, a game could be absolutely flawless, but like if there's one part of the game that like is just infuriating, that like requires a lot of trial and error, or like has bad controls, or like just has something that doesn't fit, then that one aspect alone can like drag it down. And I feel like media's like movies and TV shows and music, where you don't have that direct input, rather it's just you experiencing what the artist wanted you to experience in its purest form, it is completely different. Like, you're not going to see a movie where you have to watch it over and over and over and over again because of one tiny aspect. And because of that, like, that would ruin your experience. That almost will... That should not happen in those mediums. And if it does, that show or whatever will probably be viewed as objectively bad.
So I mean, I guess for examples of both, of things that I think kind of do have that, Paramore had an album that came out last year that I think is pretty good called After Laughter, and there's like the song, I think the 11th song on the album is literally just mixed terribly. Like, you can't hear them. There's like a guest singer, and you literally can't hear him. I watched the Anthony Fantano review for it, and yeah, he mentioned the same thing. You literally just can't hear the guy. They messed up their mixing. So the album's really good to me, but like that song, and that's one aspect. Like in theory, the lyrics. I actually don't like the song in general, but like you could like the lyrics, you could like the message, you could even like the ambient noise like in the background, but they mixed it badly, right? So that's one aspect of it. And then, with like a show, Goblin Slayer came out recently. I haven't seen it yet, but I've read the thing, and I know a lot of people have like instantly turned off by like rape scene. Right? If there's like a rape scene in something, they just can't get past that. It's just a no go. So in a way, like that could also be something where it's like it's really good, but there's just one aspect of it that you just can't get past, right? And it's not can't get past as in physically because you can't beat it, because you can't, you don't have the reflexes or whatever, but you just can't get past because emotionally, mentally, right?
I guess that's something actually kind of interesting. I was thinking about this when we were talking. Like, if there is, like, let's just say it's like an episode of like a show where like you just can't get past it, right? Like this rape scene or whatever. Let's just say that's just an episode.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if there's like something you don't like in a show or even like a movie, you can just like skip it, or like even an album, right? You can just like manipulate your enjoyment of it by like just not experiencing it again, or like at all.
Yeah.
Like in a game, you can't do that, right? Like if like I've been playing the Thousand Year Door, and a lot of people don't like Chapter 4 because it's got a lot of back and forth in it, or like Chapter 2 is a good one too, where like people don't like it because it's got so much back and forth. And I remember as a kid I really hated Chapter 2, and it was like one of those things where like you can't skip it unless you like cheat. Like you have to literally like determine like is it worth like playing through that whole like chapter to enjoy like the whole game. Whereas like in a show you can just like skip whatever you don't enjoy. But like a game you literally have to like go through the part you really don't like.
I mean, Nintendo's actually been trying to like make that not the case, right? With with what's the major? I'm blanking. Oh, you know there's the levels. Yeah, well, maybe in Odyssey, but I just know like in the 2D Mario's they have the thing where you just get that super pea suit or that just flies you over the level. Right?
Yeah.
So if there's like a level you just don't like, and then Fire Emblem did a thing where like, you know, it used to be if you lose a unit, they're just dead, they're gone. Just restart the whole chapter, right? Then they added in a mode for the 13th game, where if you lose a unit, they'll come back at the end of the chapter. So if you have someone die, you don't have to restart it. You just keep playing. And then they added a mode, I think, in the most recent one, where if a unit dies, he comes back the same chapter a couple turns later. So you don't even like lose the unit for the whole chapter. So it's not like you're down a person. You just have to wait a little bit for them to revive, right? So that's another aspect of like allowing you to go, and you can change the difficulty. You can go down whenever you want. You can't go back up. So at any point you can go, you know what? This is just not fun anymore. And you can, like, I actually did that for, I finished Fates fairly recently, and for the last version, it's Birthright, Conquest, and Revelation. I'd been playing Fates for so long, I was like, you know, I don't want to have to play well. I just don't want to have to play well right now. I just want to, like, finish the game, because I've spent way too much time on it. It's been weeks, because I don't play games that often in my free time, right? It's been, like, weeks of, like, Fire Emblem being the game that I'm playing. So I just put it on casual so that when I lost a unit, it'd come back. And it made the game pretty easy. It made the stakes really low, but like I got to experience the story, which is the part I cared more about at that moment. But yeah, I do. There's definitely like some games where that's just not a case. I think has anyone here played Nier?
No.
Okay, I've heard that the intro or prologue, whatever you want to call it, right, has like at least one moment that's just like the only time you have to use like this certain like aiming system, I think. And a lot of people just like they hate it. They just don't use it the rest of the game. They hate it, and especially if you're playing on like very hard, there's like stuff that like one shot you that normally you have like a way to deal with, like fairly easy. But because they're trying to teach you a different mechanic, you're not allowed to use that. And yeah, like. I watched a little bit of Destiny trying to play it, and it literally took him like a day, like 8 hours probably, to get past that one part. And then once he got past that, like he could progress for. I mean, I don't think there was literally another time he ever majorly stuck again. Maybe like an hour or two, but yeah.
Yeah, Nintendo is definitely like I think with like Super Mario Odyssey and like Breath of the Wild, I think are really two really good games when it comes to this, because like Breath of the Wild you can literally do whatever you want, like. If you want to go like do all like the dungeons or whatever, or like kill all the bosses before fighting Ganon, you can. Or if you want to fight Ganon, you can just do that too, like right at the start. So like you get a lot of choice in how you want to like enjoy the game. So you can literally put off the part you don't enjoy until like the end, or just skip it if you really want to. And like Odyssey has like millions of moons in every level, so like you could play the level however you want. So like if you don't like a level, you can like go through the quickest route, or you can do whatever. Or if you really like the level, you can just try and find as many moons as possible before moving on.
Yeah.
Well, I think if you like a lot of leeway.
It's definitely better than the old system where like the stars came in a certain order in each world, right?
I honestly preferred the older. I actually preferred that, but it felt like the moons were too trivial. It just felt like I was collecting like a blue coin in Sunshine. Like it didn't. That's not even true, because blue coins did feel somewhat special when I got them. It feels like I'm just collecting a coin.
Okay.
Like
blue coins felt special because of the pop-up that asked you on his save every time you picked one.
And like you could trade the blue coins for shines or whatever, and it's like cool. But like I don't know, moons. There's too many, and like there's always like the same few in each like world. Where like they always had like these 2D Mario sections, which were like really cool. They'd like put you in like the 8-bit Mario and whatever.
Yeah.
But like every time you'd go into one, you always knew there'd be like the one moon you were like guaranteed to get. There was always a hidden moon. It's like that's not really a hidden moon at that point if you know it's always going to be there. I guess trying to find it can like be different, but like you always knew there was going to be a hidden moon.
Yeah.
And like they, I don't know, and like they'd have those in like every world. So it's like that's a repeated 2 moons every world. They were like the ones you ground pound all the time, like to just randomly find. I don't know. That was my big complaint about Odyssey, but people really liked it. So I don't know. I have a feeling they're gonna keep doing it.
I kind of agree that I wish there were fewer but slightly more difficult moons.
Yeah.
Of course, not all of them super difficult, but a few of them maybe up to difficulty. Maybe remove the ones that are literally in plain sight, just sitting there.
I feel like they really underestimated like Odyssey's movement, and I feel like they should have explored that way more. Like we've seen the speedrun. I don't know if everyone's seen the speedruns, but I've seen the speedruns of it, and like what they can do with like Cappy, like you throw it, you bounce off him, you throw it again, bounce, whatever, do a long jump, reach this wall up like 50 feet in the air, whatever. Like you can do so much. They could have made so many like challenging moons, like making use of like the movement in the game. I feel like they didn't really like know what they had going for them with that game, which makes sense because like the first one it's like pretty unique, and I feel like if they've made like an Odyssey 2, if that ever happens, or maybe just the next 3D Mario, I feel like they should explore that a bit more. But
no.
Sorry, I was gonna make one last final point before I
just
shut up. I liked it in Sunshine at 64. How like and I guess Galaxy, I think, had this too. Well, like, you pick, like, the episode you wanted to do, like, for the Star of Shine or whatever. Like, you pick episode 1, you go through it. Then you pick episode 2, and, like, the level would, like, change because of the previous episode. Like, it kind of, like, felt like it was evolving, and, like, I always liked that. Yeah. But, like, in Odyssey, some worlds would change after, like, a little bit, but, like, it was cool going out and going back in and, like, seeing, oh, this is different now, or I can go over here, or, I don't know. I always liked that.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah, I think Balloon World was a pretty clever thing they added. Where they kind of, because it's user-made, basically moons. They're not actually moons, you get coins instead, but yeah, because it's user-made, it does utilize the really fun movement system of Super Mario Odyssey. In that sense, the challenges can be really fun, unless people glitched into the ground to place their shit, or but yeah, I just wish there was. Never felt like there was an incentive to actually play Balloon World, other than the few times they've added cosmetics afterwards, if you really want the cosmetics.
Yeah, I haven't even like looked at Balloon World. Like, I haven't really touched Odyssey since I finished like the main story. I don't know. I didn't feel any incentive to go and farm all the moons that I didn't find. I don't know.
I started doing that, but then I stopped when I realized that I have to do the painting ones.
I guess I haven't played Odyssey, so I can't talk too much. But my idea will probably be a combination, sort of like. I like the idea that you can get any moon in a world, right? Where you're not like stuck on. I don't like that when you go into the fucking. I don't remember what it's called. The Goomba world, the very first one in Super Mario 64, right?
Bomb on Battlefield.
Yeah, Bomb on Battlefield. That's what it's called. It's literally different. You can't race the Koopa the first time you go in. He's just not there, right?
Yeah.
You can get the Chain Chomp one. There's a couple that you can do, right?
Yeah.
But like there's some that you just can't do, and you can't do the ones in the sky until the bombs appear, and they don't appear until you beat the big boy. And I'm okay with a couple things, but like some of them, I don't know. It feels like you're really limited.
Yeah.
Not really limited, but you're somewhat limited, and I'd prefer if like you could do pretty much any of them, and maybe doing some of them unlocks a couple more, but like the majority were just open. I'm pretty sure Sunshine's even more strict, right? I played very little Sunshine, but isn't it like Galaxy's more strict? I'm pretty sure. Where it's like, yeah,
I think Galaxy's really strict.
I think Sunshine's the same, right? Where you can only do the one that you went into.
Yeah, there's like a couple of exceptions.
Yeah, there are a few exceptions.
But I remember.
But I know, like,
Yeah.
I was gonna say Bianco Hills, like right away, the first level you can do episode 2 if you wanted. I know that one.
And also
isn't-
Gelato Beach.
You can't do episode 2 of Bianco Hills.
Yeah, you can.
Isn't Bianco Hills episode 2 Peter Piranha Fight?
Yeah, you can go to PD Piranha.
You can go up to the top of the windmill, but when you get there, aren't you basically
No.
told that you're not supposed to be here yet?
No, I've done it multiple times.
The
You can do episode 2.
I'm thinking there's one of the shines. I'm sure you're told that you're not supposed to be here yet. But you're fucking my mind up here. I was so sure it was the Bianco Hills one.
No, I promise. I done it multiple times as a kid.
Okay. Okay.
I know in Gelato Beach, like some that one level 8 shine
Is that the
spawns
watermelon
on
one?
other levels. Yeah, the
Isn't
watermelon
that-
one.
I want to
But
die.
yeah,
And, like-
don't you have to do like a really difficult glitch to get it, or like a somewhat difficult glitch?
Yeah, you can't.
I
really
mean,
get
yeah,
Yeah,
but I mean,
okay.
like it's
That's-
still
that's-
there.
That's
It's
very
different. It's different. It's very different. But like, I personally like that. Like, there is some sort of like, I guess, interweavingness of the levels where like some shines will spawn on certain other levels, so you can kind of sequence break through like natural means. Sometimes, yes, you do have to do an excruciatingly difficult glitch, but it's not impossible. It's just
Well,
not
that's all-
intended.
That's not legitimate though. Like, there should be like a middle ground where like I think the big problem is that like if there is a level with multiple shines or stars in it, you can't get both. Like,
Yeah.
regardless, that you can only get the ones. Like, yeah, you can go to Bomb on Battlefield and the Champion star is there. You have to pick. You can't do both at the same time. I think that's the big problem. too.
And then you get kicked out, and then if you do the change round one first, you come back and you still can't race the Koopa and you still can't like toss
Yeah.
the bombs and open up the cannons because none of that's changed. 'Cause you didn't beat the big bomb, and yeah, so you can do quite a few of them before, but eventually you got to beat the big bomb before you unlock a bunch of other stuff.
Like, I do like how you have to do certain episodes to like progress like the area, like with the bombs. Like, they don't like want to talk to you or whatever until like you do like a certain something. I think some are fine, but I feel like there's a middle ground they can meet.
I feel like you should be able to race the guy from the start. I feel like it wouldn't. If you talk to him, right? They should just despawn King Bam, right? Like, he should be there. You can walk up and talk to him and ask if he wants to race. If you say yes, then they just like despawn him, right? And then you race him, and you're good.
You can just race them to somewhere else.
Yeah, sure,
feel like
that could work too.
I feel like they could just do that.
Yeah, I'm okay with the bombs not existing to open the cannons because, like, I'm pretty sure they even say something like, "This is thanks for beating that meanie" or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So like, they put some lore text into it, but yeah, like not being able to race the guy, it's like I should be able to race. Racing's like one of the more fun things to do too. Like, I feel like it would be a good introduction. Well, I guess you it's not a good introduction now that I think about it because you need to know where first, right?
Yeah.
But upon later playthroughs, it's like one of the more enjoyable things to do. So like,
I guess it'd be kind of cool if like, I don't know how this would work really, but like it'd be kind of cool if like when you went to episode 1, like there's always like the episode like star that you that would always be the same, but like they kind of like picked up random like other 3 that you could do. So like it'd be different every time. But then like
yeah.
I don't know, maybe that they could do that. I don't know. I feel like this is a lot they could do. It's really random too, but I know Paper Mario Color Splash is the same problem where like you have to collect these like mini color stars or what I don't know what they're called, but you pretty much have to collect stars for the different colors. And like I've watched a video of this guy reviewing the game, and like they literally put 2 of the same, like they put 2 stars next to each other, but you can only grab 1, and then it kicks you out. And you have to go through the whole level again to the same spot to then get kicked out at that same spot
That's
to
right.
collect 2 things next to each other.
That's true.
It's like they literally still have
Wow.
like it was only recently they like even fixed the problem with in Odyssey, and even then I think they've gone too far the other way.
Yeah. Well, maybe they'll make a perfect Mario game eventually that actually deserves a 10 out of 10.
I think the perfect Mario game at this point would just be Super Mario Sunshine 2, you know?
They'll
I think
never
it'd be Paper Mario 3.
like the Paper Mario series makes me so mad. Like you have Paper Mario 64 that's like good, and TTYD just like improves pretty much most of it. And then you have Super Paper Mario, which is like okay, but it's like they're starting to deviate from the path. And you have Sticker Star, and then you have Color Splash. I don't know. When you think, I just don't get it. Like Miyamoto literally
People
told.
like- Oh yeah.
I was gonna say Miyamoto literally told the team like, yeah, stop making original characters. Like, why? Like the best part of the game.
Everything
Yep.
is a toad now.
Yeah, everyone's just a Toad. Like, no one cares about Red Toad 29. Like, I liked Vivian, Madame Flurry. What?
Give me Vivian or give me death.
Like, I don't care about Red Toad. You can go die.
Yeah, Miyamoto's had a bunch of like out of touch moments, and that's one of them.
I just don't get. Did he? He doesn't play his own games.
Probably not. Yeah, that's bad. But hey, Sticker Star wasn't as bad as people made it out to be, and people like Color Splash, so they don't like that. The fact that it's not a Paper Mario game like the traditional, but they like it overall.
And Color Splash. It seems like generally people dislike Sticker Star and Color Splash. People are really mixed on Super Paper Mario. It's either like they really liked it or they really didn't. And then the first two, everyone just like sucks off.
I think Color Splash was actually pretty well received.
Color Splash is, it's not as like as bad as Sticker Star, but I don't think it's like as good as Super Paper Mario. It feels like
I don't think so. It's 76 on Metacritic, 7.2 for users, and then let me look up Super Paper Mario.
Really quick. I was looking at Color Splash the other day, and I was reading on the Wikipedia that as soon as the game was revealed, there was a petition online to get the game cancelled.
Oh no!
Made me
People are-
laugh.
Yeah, Super Paper Mario is 85 and 8 now, so
Yeah.
definitely higher. But
Color Splash, from what I heard, improved on what Sticker Star had like done, so that's why people liked it. Because it was like a better Sticker Star,
yeah,
and then I think it had like I don't know. That's what I hear. I don't know.
yeah, Sticker Star has a 5.7 from users, so people were not too happy. It wasn't that bad, but it was not great. It was definitely not great.
I feel like spin-offs.
Honestly, I feel like I probably would give Sticker Star like a 5 to a 6. Like
Yeah.
to me, it was average. Like it was an average Mario game.
Was it an average Mario game or was it an average game?
I feel like it was an average game.
Okay,
I
because
think it was
average
an
Mario
average
game means you'd have to have the same number of Mario games below it as above it. I feel like that's hard to assume there's that many. I guess if you count a bunch of the sports spin-offs and stuff, there's probably some pretty shitty
Those
Mario
games are lit.
So, some of them are. Some of them kind of suck. But
A lot of the more recent Mario Sport games, I think, suck. I think the GameCube had some really good ones, and I think what did the Wii even have? I know the Wii had like the football one, or soccer. I think people like that one.
Yeah,
is that
Strikers
the
and
best
Strikers
Mario
Charge.
Kart? Yeah.
Oh yeah, Mario Kart. I forgot that was a sport game. Yeah, Mario Kart.
Hasn't been good Mario Party since like the Nintendo 64 or maybe the GameCube.
The GameCube ones were good. The only really bad one was that one where you were in the car.
10.
Wasn't there two?
9?
Oh yeah, I think there was two. I think the most recent one people like enjoy just because it's more traditional.
Honestly, I've played a little bit of it, and yeah, it's fun. It is fun.
Like I feel like not Paper Mario. I feel like Mario Party like it's always going to be good or fun as long as it keeps that formula. Like just at least, I feel like then it's always going to be like okay, and people like it. But I feel like if you change that like they did, people don't like it. As long as it's like its base, I think people will always like Mario Party.
They also need to give it online though.
Yes, they need to give it actual online.
So, oh god, the Nintendo drones that try to pretend that's not a bad decision.
Ugh.
Every time I see someone on Reddit say that, like, well, it's good because no one would want to play a full game online anyway. It sucks. Like, there's a thriving, or maybe not thriving, but there's an existing community of people that already play it online using Chimera, right? Like,
Yeah.
that exists. If you want to play Mario Party online right now, you can download Project 64, like get the fucking ROM, and you can play it. Like there are people that are sitting there playing it, and like connections suck and you DC from people and it's awful, but there's people willing to try to play it and they would play all the way through if like the technology was there.
God, some people on Reddit are like, they're out of touch just as much as Nintendo. Like, they're always like, who wants to play with randoms? Like, no one's talking about playing with randoms. People want to play with their friends online because not everyone lives in the same fucking house as each other anymore, or on the same street. Like, online's like such a big thing. And everyone has so many internet friends now, and like it's so easy to meet people online and make friends with people you don't even know that like don't even live near you. And it's just like, I want to play with them. Also, people always talk about like, oh yeah, well if someone's losing, they'll just disconnect and ruin the game. Like, well, one, you can replace them with a CPU, or I don't know. That's it. Just replace them with a CPU. Why is it gonna ruin the game?
Yeah.
And if someone wants to quit, fuck them.
It's like, I don't know. It's silly. There's no reason not to. Actually, League of Legends. They've still they've made it so like someone DCs quick enough, you can do the remake thing, right? Or like just cancel the game, right? Yeah. But like they still haven't. Dota has existed for like 20 years. It's probably not that old, but for a long time. And like Dota had a much better system, and Dota 2 is a much better system where if someone DCs, you can just use their character. You just use them. Yeah. And if one guy is good enough to play two characters, you don't even have a disadvantage. You might even be advantaged because a bad player left and a good player is now controlling his character, right? Like, leaving doesn't have to be a huge, like, problem. And yeah, it's harder to control two characters, but, like, it gives you the possibility of playing 5v5 still. And League just, like, refuses to implement anything. Like, it feels like because they're too focused on the idea of the guy reconnecting.
Oh, yeah.
But like, and that can exist too. You don't have to make it either or. You can have some guy control his character, and then hey, maybe he reconnects at a time when you're in the middle of using his character, and that screws stuff up. That sucks. But like, it's still better that you were able to use his character for the 15 minutes he was gone, and then he died once because he reconnected at a bad time. Then like, he's sitting in the fountain for all 10 minutes until he reconnects.
But like, saying that like they're focused on the guy coming back, it's actually just not true, because in ranked, if you come back, you still lose LP, even if you win the game. So like, once you DC in a ranked game, there's actually just no reason to come back.
Isn't it like, if you get back really quickly, I think it's okay, but it's like 5 minutes or something.
Yeah, if you come back. There's actually just no point in trying to reconnect, because you've lost the LP now. There's just no point.
Yep.
Fuck your team.
It's silly.
Yeah. Also, another thing with Mario Party is that people act like Mario Party games like last for like hours. They're like, no one wants to commit to that long of a game. Like, people play League all the time, Dota, like any MOBA, and those last for like 20 minutes at least, like constantly. Also, you people play Mario Party single player. What's the fucking difference?
Like, yeah, and also like you can set their turn limit. Like, it's not like every single game has to be 50 turns. No one's asking for that. You could have like a 10-turn game if you wanted to. That's totally fine.
Also,
I think I'd play like a 5-turn with randoms even. Like, do everything's doubled, maybe even tripled. Like the amount of coins you get, you probably start with enough to buy like a star or two, right? Like, just a super fast pace. At that point, I like, even for random leaves, who cares? It's 5 turns. It's not going to take that long. But maybe even 10 turns, I'd be okay with randoms. But
yeah, also, like,
I feel like with the cloud system, it should be pretty easy to like save an online game, right, for like a few days on their cloud, and then like you can come back to it later with the same people. Otherwise, like, has to be like you have to commit to the game now, save it to the cloud, leave it for like a week, and then if like they don't come back, then yeah, sure, delete it, just delete like that game. But like, I don't know why it has to be like you play now or never.
Yeah. I don't know, man. That was a huge side tangent, but I hate him, dude. I just hate him.
I'm so mad now.
So yeah, we should wrap up. We did an okay job. We managed to keep it under 2 hours, although it was like an hour 45 minutes. So not that much under, but we kept it a little under. So maybe next time we'll shave off even more.
We didn't start exactly. We started like 15 past though. So.
Oh, okay. So maybe we did an hour and a half. Hey, good stuff. We're getting closer to our initial goal of 1 hour podcast. But yeah, it was fun. I'm Kite. You guys can introduce yourselves, and we'll sign out. Or sign out, whatever. You know, not introduce yourself. The opposite of introduce yourself. Say goodbye. There we go.
Extraduce yourself.
Bye, friends.
I've been Powie.
I'm still Deck.
And I'm still Neku.
And we're still
see
leaving.
you guys next week, maybe. I probably won't be around. Power won't be around, but Neku and Deck and Jem might be. We'll see. And Cappy.
Yeah, you can't forget about Cappy.
Yeah. So we'll see you guys next week or 2 weeks from now, something like that.
Yeah.
Enjoy your weekend, everybody.
Goodbye.
See ya.
See ya.